Hey everyone, Leakenstein here. Well, if you guys just didn't know, I mean, right there, that's pretty much the joke. Classified information has been leaked again for Warthunder. It's absolutely insane, but this has happened yet again with possibly the most classified of classified things to be leaked thus far. The F-117 Nighthawk. Yes, that's right. The stealth strike aircraft has been leaked, at least some of the documents pertaining to its use and some specifications for it. So a few weeks ago, we already had the Eurofighter Typhoon, some NATO restricted documentation. I mean, it's not necessarily like hardcore documents where it's like this is the newest stuff and all that, but it's still restricted information, which is still a no-no to be leaked. And this is, for this time again, the F-117 Nighthawk. In this instance, from what I'm to understand, it was a manual that, according to a few articles I've been reading, included data on things such as the location of sensors on the F-117, firing angles, engine specifications, and of course, much more. So there is a lot going on here. Of course, the F-117 is stealth, and even though America, its only user and its original developer, of course, they don't use it in a combat role anymore, they have been using it, and they have been seeing tons of these flying out in the desert because this is actually one of the stealth platforms that the US has, and as such, they've been using it to train kind of, I believe, kind of like as an aggressor role to simulate a stealth aircraft on stealth aircraft encounter, and this works out pretty damn well in that regard. Now, that being said, of course, releasing such documentation is a big no-no. In fact, actually, it's such a big no-no that Gaijin will immediately remove the documentation, remove the link, and oftentimes, as in the case with the F-117, because of how big of a deal this one is in particular, they will completely get rid of the threat. With the Eurofighter Typhoon, if I'm not mistaken, they just got rid of the link, maybe even just that one post in particular. In this instance, they nuked the thread. It no longer exists, and the reason for it is because you cannot use, Gaijin will not use, at least per their rules, they will never use classified information in order to make a vehicle, right? So the F-117, kind of like the Eurofighter Typhoon, which was most recently leaked, they're not in game yet. This isn't for some vehicle that may have been inaccurately put into Warthunder, kind of the Challenger 2, or maybe the Leclerc tanks, or maybe even arguably like the F-16. But this is for a vehicle that not only isn't in Warthunder, but probably won't be in Warthunder for quite some time. And again, per the rules of Gaijin, they will never, ever use this information in game. In fact, as I've said before, and as many other people have probably said many times, one of the reasons why top tier, especially tanks, is so homogenous for the most part is because we don't have access to all these tanks, right? We don't know what the specifications, the true armor specifications are for the armor on the M1 Abrams, for the M1A2. We don't know what it is for the Leopard 2A6. We can take educated guesses, of course, but they more or less all function about the same. You point, maybe shoot at the lower glacis, and boom, the tank is dead. That's not how it's going to be in real life. You know, Gen 1 thermals, Gen 2, Gen 3, some of those things are generally known, but not too specific. And once you start releasing those specifics, that becomes a problem because, again, it is classified information, and in some ways you put your own security at risk because, again, being classified or even restricted information could put you on a watch list. It could put you on some sort of list where people, the men in black, so to speak, the FBI, the CIA, anyone, right? Even just some casual phone calls might call you up and say, why are you giving out this information? Or what do you know about this, that, or the other thing? And before you know it, you could be put on a do not fly list or whatever the case may be. Now, of course, these are extreme scenarios, but the Challenger 2 crewman, for example, that leaked the information regarding the Challenger 2 got into a lot of trouble, if I'm not mistaken. And quite honestly, I'd be interested to read about the follow-ups on each one of these stories because this is, according to a website that I've been reading, the 12th time, yes, the 12th time that leaking of classified or restricted documents to Warthunder has happened. So there, of course, has to be some sort of follow-up. These people aren't just getting off scot-free. So you have to wonder, what is happening to these people? And you never really hear, and I feel like it would be a really good reminder not to leak these sort of things if they post on Gaijin's website, hey, this is what happened to X person who leaked the Challenger 2 documentation. This is what happened to the guy who leaked the Chinese APFSDS shell specifications, whatever the case may be. Because this stuff is not only highly frowned upon, if not illegal to leak, obviously, but it will get you nowhere, absolutely nowhere in War Thunder, because it will never, ever make it to the game because it is classified or restricted information, and as such, again, Gaijin will never use it, which totally 100% moots whatever point you had in leaking the information in the first place. Maybe you're trying to win an internet argument, which is incredibly stupid, but maybe you are. It's not going to work because it will get deleted, and oh yeah, you're cool, whatever. You're not cool if you're leaking classified or restricted information. And again, this is the 12th time that this has happened. Never do it. It is incredibly stupid, and you have to wonder, with this continually happening, and now with this possibly being the most severe of the leaks, the F-117 Nighthawk, you have to wonder, is this going to take a toll on War Thunder? Is this going to ban it in some instances? Are there going to be some countries that just say, hey, this game is a security risk? I mean, look at TikTok. Look at all these other apps and games and all that some countries claim are spyware, malware, whatever the case may be, because of the nation that it comes from, being that this is from an Eastern European nation that at one point it was headquartered in Moscow, if I'm not mistaken, Gaijin that is. You have to wonder, are people in the higher positions of XYZ country, the US, Germany, any country that might use the Typhoon, whatever, doesn't really matter. Are they going to start looking at this and saying, hey, this game is dangerous, how many people are leaking classified information? I mean, it only takes one news story to get to a leader of a country in order to spark a conversation about just banning the game outright, because why would they care? I mean, after all, it is a video game. I mean, really, that's the thing you always have to remember about this, guys, when thinking about leaking classified or restricted information. And by the way, this is ridiculous. I'm even thinking about saying this, but this is a video game. Why are you going to leak classified or restricted information about a video game? I literally make money by playing this video game and posting things on it, and I would never consider that. Whereas some people, they just don't make anything. This game improves their life not one bit, probably makes it worse in some way, shape, or form, and they go out of their way to leak this information. Again, whether it's classified, restricted, or whatever the case may be, you can't do it. You should stop doing it. Never consider it, because not only will it not ever be considered in War Thunder in order to make a vehicle or change a vehicle or whatever the case may be, but you might get some people knocking on your door late at night. You might start seeing black SUVs outside your house. You never know. I mean, of course, again, those are extreme things. You know, I don't really know if that's ever going to happen. But again, I'm interested to know exactly what happened to all the other dozen times, essentially, where people have leaked classified or simply restricted information. If you guys know the scoop on any of these people or any of those extra instances, let me know in the comments below, because I think that that would be a really good thing for people to learn about, so that maybe that can act as a something to scare them away from doing it. Kind of like how a head on a pike on the outskirts of a city would scare off maybe ne'er-do-wells back in the Middle Ages. Of course, again, a bit of an extreme example, but you get my point. So that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is absolutely ridiculous. I can only say so much regarding this each and every time that it happens. On one hand, yeah, it's kind of funny, haha, whatever. But realistically speaking, you're leaking classified information about a stealth aircraft that is currently being used by the US Air Force. That is ridiculously stupid, no matter how you look at it. And more so being that it's not in War Thunder, nor will it probably be in War Thunder anytime soon. Either way though, see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.